So good morning to all. This is Venkatrana. So in this semester, we are going to deal subject called analog and digital electronics. The subject name is analog and digital electronics. Analog and digital electronics. So coming to this subject, it is a combination of two subjects again. One is analog electronics and second one is digital electronics. So in the olden days, before electronics came into the existence, there is a subject called electrical. So basically there are three types of materials are there. They are conductors, semiconductors, and third one is insulators. So before invention of the semiconductor, electrical industry was revolutionized. But in the 19th century, starting at 20th century, nothing but 1901, 1902, there is no semiconductors. When there is no semiconductors, there is no electronics industry. So in the last semester, we have studied a subject called applied physics. In that we have topic called semiconductor physics. In that semiconductor physics, we have seen the basics of semiconductors and what are the different types of semiconductors and what is p-type, what is n-type, and what is p-n junction diode, what is light emitting diode. Like this we have studied. But coming to this analog electronic subject, whatever the devices we have studied, we have to use those. For example, while we are studying this applied physics, we have seen that this diode will be used as a switch, this diode will be used in clipper circuit, this diode will be used in clamper circuit, this diode will be used in rectifier circuit. Coming to this analog electronic subject, you have to see what is the rectifier circuit, how the diode acts as a rectifier, and what are the different types of rectifiers are there, you have to see. Next, what is clipper? What are the different types of clippers? What is the function of the clipper? How the clipper clips the circuit, say waveform. Like this we have to see. Next, while we are studying applied physics, we have seen that BJT, emitter, base and collector, and emitter collector. BJT has two junctions. Like this we have seen just basics. Coming to this analog electronics, again we have to see the construction of the BJT and what are the different modes of our configuration, different modes of operation. What is saturation region, what is cutoff region, what is active region, and what is common emitter, what is common base and what is common collector. What are the different types of transistors, what are the different types of amplifiers. There while we are studying the BJT, just we applications of the BJT we have written this BJT will be useful as a amplifier. But coming to this analog electronics, we have to see what are the different types of amplifiers are there and how the amplifiers are observing the waveforms and how it is amplified. What are the signals this amplifier will consider as an inputs and what are the signals it will generate as an output, you have to see here. Next, field effect transistor also. In applied physics you don't have field effect transistor. The new topic is just some field. BJT is also bipolar junction transistors has some disadvantages. To overcome that disadvantage, we will go for field effect transistors are there. That will be seen in the analog electronics. Again, there are two types of FETs, MOSFET and JFET. And in that the construction we will see and what are the different types of FETs we have to see and what are the different FET amplifiers also there. Common gate, common drain, like this. Whatever the terminals for BJT, emitter, base and collector, like this for FET also we have drain, source and gate. And whatever the amplifiers, common emitter, common base, collector for the transistor, similarly for FET also common gate, common drain and common collector, a common source. Like this, there are three types of amplifiers are there. We have to see those also. So coming to this digital electronics, so while we are discussing about the digital electronics, we have to know the operation of the BJT clarity. What are the different types? What are the different modes of operation? What is saturation region? What is cutoff region? What is active region? We have to know, because digital electronics, our entire discussion is about on switch or off switch, on switch or off switch, which means BJT acts as a BJT will be in the saturation region, in the cutoff region. Only two regions. While we are discussing digital electronics, our BJT will be, the point to be remember is BJT is operated in only two modes. One is saturation region, another one is cutoff region. That is either on switch or off switch. Coming to this analog electronics is operated on analog signals only. Whereas coming to the digital electronics, these devices are accept the digital input and generate the digital output. So to understand this digital electronics, I am taking one example, that is calculator. For example, if you add this 0 plus 1 if you enter the 0 plus 1 in the calculator, it will show 1. If you enter 5 plus 6, it will show 11. If you enter 11 plus 2, it will show 13. Like this way, this will add. This is the addition operation. Here 0 and 1 are numbers, but this calculator or digital computer, it will understand only binary language. That's why coming to the digital electronics, only two types of signals we have to see, that is zeros and one. Zeros means logic 0 and ones means logic 1. Whereas coming to this analog electronics, analog signals means this continuous signal is nothing but an analog signal. This is amplitude. It may be voltage or current. For example, this is a Vm. It should be a minus Vm. This waveform can be represented as V of t is equals to Vm sin omega t, where Vm is the peak value or peak amplitude value, or amplitude. It can be represented as a amplitude here. Amplitude. This is nothing but a pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi and 6 pi, like this. So here the frequency will depend as number of cycles per second, which means this complete cycle is nothing but a time period. Can I say this is a time period? Means I cannot say, because complete cycle means after completion of this cycle, again the waveform start with the same amplitude. For example, here the amplitude will be 0. After reaching here only, the amplitude will be 0 and again it will be go for positive half cycle. You may get doubt, sir, why not this up to this only? We cannot consider mean. If you observe here, the amplitude will be 0, but next to when I increase the time period here, what happens is it will go to the next negative axis. I started 0 and go for positive axis, and similar waveform will be wherever the similar waveform will be repeated, up to that we have to go. Okay. So for example, I am considering this signal. This is the time period. Again, this is the amplitude axis. Here the time period is up to this only. For example, this is 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 4 seconds, or 6 seconds, like this. What is the time period of this means? We can say t is equals to 2 seconds only. What is the time period of this means? We have to say this is a 2 pi. Time period t is equals to 2 pi. And time period t is equals to frequency and time period are inversely related. Frequency and time period are inversely related. That means t is inversely proportional to f. Why I am saying this is f means, for example, if I am drawing waveform here, this is the time axis, again this is the amplitude axis, again this is the time axis. So if I draw like this, what happens is, here t is equals to 10 seconds I am assuming. Here t is equals to 1 second, 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which means what happens is, here the time period is up to one complete cycle the time period is. For this waveform the time period is 2 seconds, and for this waveform the time period is 10 seconds. So if the time period is long, what happens is the frequency will be low. T is inversely proportional to F, which means the frequency is number of oscillations per second. Here, in order to complete one oscillation, it will take 10 seconds. Here, in order to complete one oscillation, it will take only 2 seconds. Within 10 seconds, it will generate 5 cycles. Means here what happens? Frequency will be measured in cycles per second. So that's why here in the within 10 seconds here 5 cycles are getting. Here for 10 seconds only 1 cycle we are getting. That's why here time period is long, frequency is low. Here time period is low, frequency is long. That's why time is inversely proportional to frequency. That's what we have to understand here. Okay. So next one is so coming to this analog electronics. The topic related to this is diodes and applications. Again, in this we have to see construction of the diode. In this again we have to see VI characteristics of the diode. Next one is diode acts as a rectifier. Next one is diode resistances. And next one is diffusion capacitance. And next one is effect of temperature on diode. And next one is diffusion effect of temperature on diode. Next one is breakdown diodes. Next one is tunnel diode. Next one is photodiode. Next one is light emitting diode. This is a half of the first unit. And next one is diodes and applications. Second part is clippers, comparators, and off-wave circuits, off-wave rectifier, full-wave rectifier, and bridge rectifier. And last concept is rectifier with filter. So here, before going to all these topics, the another important point you have to understand is, so here very important point is every electronic device is operated with direct current or voltage. But in general we are getting current supply as a alternating current. So that current will be alternating current, and this will be in the form of analog. This is time period. This value will be 230 volts VRMS and 50 Hz frequency. So to convert this alternating current, this is nothing but alternating current AC waveform. To convert this alternating current into direct current, we require some circuit. That circuit is called power supply circuit. So here we are getting some DC, constant DC. The definition of the here, I am taking definition for this direct current. I am giving definition for this alternating current. So this alternating current is nothing but a current which flows through circuit. Every instant of time the amplitude changes. That type of current is said to be analog alternating current. If current does not changes with amplitude, for example, at any instant of time, the amplitude will be constant only. The amplitude will be constant. The amplitude will be constant. That type of current is said to be direct current. If amplitude changes with respect to time, if time increases, what happens? Sometimes it may be increases, sometimes it may be decreases. So with respect to time, if changes, this type of waveform is said to be alternating current. So to convert this alternating current into direct current, we are using some circuit. This power supply circuit consists of again 4 blocks. They are, one is transformer, and second one is rectifier, and third one is filter, and fourth one is regulator. So this transformer, it may be step down transformer. Most probably we are using step down transformer only. Here we are getting 230 volts. This step down transformer converts this 230 volts into 23 volts only. This rectifier it may be half wave rectifier, it may be full wave rectifier, it may be bridge rectifier. It depends on our requirement. We can give this 23 volts to our rectifier. This rectifier consists of again semiconductor device, that is diode. It will allow, what happens is, for example, if I am using this half wave rectifier, the output of this half wave rectifier is like this. Only positive half cycle it will allow, negative half cycle it will not allow. Here I am applying some AC source here. This value will be 23. I am using 10:1 transformer, step down transformer. So when I apply this AC waveform, this rectifier, if it is a half wave rectifier, the output will be like this. If it is a full wave rectifier, the output will be like this. So here you can understand here, rectifier, what is meant by rectifier mean? It is a circuit which converts this alternating current into pulsating DC. This is not a pure DC. We are expecting from this entire circuit, we are expecting this type of output, but we are getting only this type of output. That's why here some AC components are there. We have to remove this AC component by using some filter. That's why we have concept called rectifier with some filter. And next, this filter, it will show output as a some fluctuations are there. This is the time, again this is the amplitude. So the output of the filter, again it is a some fluctuations are there. So in order to overcome these fluctuations, we are using some regulator. The excellent example for this regulator is a Zener diode. When the Zener diode is operated in reverse bias condition, when it is reached the reverse breakdown voltage, it goes into the breakdown region. If I increase the voltage also, the output voltage remains constant. Which means, if any variation, sometimes this 230 volts may vary. It may be blanks, it reaches to the 220 volts, or sometimes it may be reaches to the 230, 240 volts also. That's why any variations in the input, we should get the only constant output. If any variations, for example, the output of the filter is, here I am assuming 5 volts, I am requiring 5 volts or 10 volts. Sometimes it may be 10.2 volts, or sometimes it may be 9.5 volts. Like this, the voltage may changes at the filter output. That's why to maintain the 10 volts constantly, I am using some regulator. When the regulator goes into the breakdown, when the Zener diode goes into the breakdown, irrespective of the variations in this here or variations here, it will maintain 10 volts only. That's what the regulator purpose is. So in the applied physics also, while discussing the Zener diode, we use that, this is used as a regulator. Okay. So this is nothing but a power supply circuit. Excellent example for this power supply circuit is our charger. And if you consider the laboratory, regulated power supply. So for every electronic device, whether it may be transistor, whether it may be diode, or whether it may be TV or whatever it may be, we have to use the DC only. In the lab, we are using some DC. This DC will be, it may be 5 volts or 12 volts or 20 volts like this only. This voltage will be given by regulated power supply in the laboratory. But in our houses, to give the direct current or voltage to the mobile, we are using some charger. This charger circuit consists of entire this block. It has some Zener diode, it has some filter, it has some rectifier, it has some transformer. Okay, that's what this regulated power supply or power supply circuit is. Next one is, you have to know difference between this electrical and electronic device. Electronic device and electrical device. Electrical and electronic device. Electrical and electronics. Which device is said to be electrical device and which device is said to be electronic device? Electronic device. So a device, here I am writing definition. So most of the electronic devices are, most of the electrical devices are, most of the electrical devices are made up of conductors only. Whereas coming to this electronic device, almost most of the electronic devices are, most of the electronic devices are made up of semiconductors only. So every electronic device is made up of semiconductor, whereas every electrical device is made up of conductor. Second one is electrical devices are operated at very high frequency, very high voltages and currents, high voltages and currents, that is 11 kV, 33 kV, like this, and amps means 5 amps, 10 amps, like this. Whereas coming to this electronic devices are operated, electronic devices are operated at very low frequency, at very low voltages and currents, low voltages and currents, that is order of 10 volts or 20 volts, and current milliamps or microamps current. So third point you have to remember for this electrical devices are, these devices are operated at very low frequency. These devices are operated at low frequency. At low frequency means here only 50 Hz frequency. But coming to this electronic devices, these are operated at very high frequencies. Operated at very high frequencies. Very high frequencies. So very high frequencies means if you consider this electronic device, the carrier frequency for this mobile is 800 megahertz, which is electronic device again. And if you consider the FM, the carrier frequency will be 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So if you consider radar, if you consider microwave devices, all these are belongs to the electronic device, because so without electronic device we cannot communicate. If you consider the television, or if you consider the mobile also, if you consider the television, what happened? For television we are given two types of inputs. In order to on the television we are using some supply. In order to get the signal or channel we are using another supply, that is maybe Tata Sky, or that may be Sun Direct, that may be cable TV, etc. Different connections we are using. Those connections for the channels, to turn on the device we are using some supply. That supply is said to be power supply. So that should be DC only. So that's why power supply circuit is present in this even television also. So they are operated at very high frequencies. Every electronic device is operated at very high frequencies. So if you see the carrier frequency, if you study the communication, if you study the communication, there are different amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation, digital communication. If you come across the digital communication, pulse code modulation. So we are getting data in the 8 Gbps, 1 Gbps, 64 Gbps, gigabytes per second, which means the type of data will be very high speed data only. If in analog form we are saying that it is a megahertz, but in the coming to this the digital data we are saying megabits Mbps, 50 Mbps, 30 Mbps, like this we are saying bits per second or bytes per second. So next example for the electrical devices are generator, motor, transformer, fan, resistor, inductor and capacitor. Coming to the electronic devices, diode, BJT, FET, LED, television and mobile. That's why after invention of the transistor, electronic industry was revolutionized. This by using this electronic industry, they are communicating. That's why there is a group called Electronics and Communication Engineering is established. Electronics and Communication Engineering was established. Okay, so every electronic device or almost electronic devices are useful for communication. That's why they are attached with this electronic device communication, and they are saying that electronic device and communications. Okay, so this is the difference between this electrical device and electronic device. So next one. So semiconductors. Right. So coming to the semiconductor. So semiconductors. The classification of semiconductors or semiconductor material can be classified by energy band diagram. This consists of conduction band and valency band. This is interatomic distance. This is the energy of the electron. So the gap between this conduction band and valency band is nothing but a energy gap. So based on this energy gap only, we classify our materials into conductors, semiconductors and insulator. So this, if energy gap is approximately is equals to 0 electron volt, we can say it is a conductor. If energy gap is approximately is equals to 1 electron volt, we can say it is a semiconductor. If energy gap is greater than or is equals to 5 electron volt, we can say it is a insulator. So coming to this analog and digital electronics subject, we do not discuss about this conductors and insulator. Our entire discussion is about again semiconductor only. That's what we have. We don't have discussion about this conductor and insulator. We have discussion about only semiconductor. So coming to the semiconductor, again the semiconductors are classified into two types. So the definition of the semiconductor is if the material which has energy gap approximately equal to 1 electron volt, it is said to be semiconductor. Or the resistivity lies between conductors and insulators is said to be semiconductor. So the classification of semiconductors will be it is of two types: intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. This intrinsic semiconductors are nothing but a pure form of semiconductor. And extrinsic semiconductor is nothing but a. So extrinsic semiconductors can be formed. There is a method called doping. So before going to doping, we have to know what are the intrinsic semiconductors, the pure form of semiconductors, which means if you consider the fourth group elements in the periodic table, carbon, silicon, germanium,